The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathered of Christ Church here with your weekly Patreon update. Hope you all are doing well. All praises be to the Most High. Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya wa Rawak. Hope you all are doing fine. What I said in Hebrew, interpreted, the Most High God is Ahaya. In the name of Yeshaya, that's His Son, Jesus Christ, through the Rawak, which is the Holy Spirit. We thank the Most High for giving us another opportunity, myself, coming before you today. And yes, do I have a great Patreon discussion off of what we've just gone through in our Wednesday's broadcast, okay? 1 second, let me let this brother know that I'm actually broadcasting here. All right. 1 second. Don't want to dismiss him here. Yes. So dovetailing off of our last broadcast, when I went into the spirit of the woman that sit on many waters, the harlot that sit on many waters, right? And it led me to actually talk about that in this particular Patreon discussion, all right? Now, all in all, brothers and sisters, I would like to say this, right? Shalom, I see you all saying hello, hello, hello. All right, before I go into what I'll be discussing on Patreon and give y'all some insight to this, right? I would like to let you all know that we are going into the Hebrew and Bible Academy week 2. Okay, week 2 of the Academy, all right? Last week, we actually went into the ranking angels, right, of the heavenly realm. Even breaking down the Ophanim, which is what we would call today your so-called UFOs. The world, the news would like to misdirect or deflect by claiming they were aliens or unidentified flying objects so that the people don't realize how close to heaven that in interaction with angels, we are truly dealing with on a regular basis, okay? So I went into the rankings of angels, how the earth was created, totally dispelling the lie of the satanic evil evolution. Okay, evolution is a hateful, wicked, scientific ideology against God. And it also leads to their justification of eugenics or what they call natural selection. And having what? The moral high ground to justify eradicating the earth of what they would call the useless eaters. That's a bad deal when the system have created, a pool of what they would call undesirables. And brothers and sisters, hence the reason we just came out of what we just came out of with the big cold and all these others. We need to connect all that to evolution, science, and how they're actually engineering their outcome for allegedly depopulation. This coming week 2 of the Academy, I'll be talking about the gatekeepers who are connected to the fallen angels. We're going to go into those. We're going to go into the fallen angels whom the world called gods and show you how they have systematically set up gatekeepers. All right. What are the gatekeepers? These are they who operate with the unseen for power within the occult. Okay. They're in high positions, political positions, religious positions. Okay. And also they use, that's right, the universities, the colleges to initiate more gatekeepers. That's right. From one generation to the next, connecting to the dark world. So when you hear about Orishas, when you hear about Ogun, a lot of people don't know Ogun is another name for Simjaza, the fallen angel. So I'm going to be going into that this coming Sunday on the Hebrew and Bible Academy. You don't want to miss it. That's right. The fallen angels and their gatekeepers. Okay. You've never heard it put together like this. Tracing the serpent seed, for the first time, we're connecting the fallen angels and their gatekeepers. That's right. Whether it be Freemasons, Knights Templar, the Catholic Church. That's right. The Imams of Islam, even Farrakhan's connection with the Shriners. All of that and more. I'm not saying that people who actually fall into these perils are actually what? Knowingly serving Satan. I'm not here to give that indictment. What I'm here to tell you is, regardless of how we fall into these positions, folks, these powerful positions, regardless of it, whether there's good intentions or not, it's time to find out the dark forces who actually lead those who are under those organizations. All right. So that and more this coming Sunday. You don't want to miss it. All right. Now, and in order to be a part of that, go to historytimes.org and enroll. Keep in mind, we're only in week 2. Okay. And anyone will tell you who was there last week with the creation of the universe. Things were taught in that lesson that you've never understood, that we've never understood in the past, on a whole nother level. Okay. So when it comes to the creation of the universe, we broke it down. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit, their function within creation. Okay. All of that. How that same function, which is family, that's being attacked, that's right, is the image of God. The man in charge, the woman submitting, operating in the spirit of the Holy Spirit, bringing forth children who would actually produce what? Family in the earth as what? As family was created in heaven by God. Man, woman, child. Okay? And I broke it down, and this is why family is under a serious assault today. Okay? This is why family is being decimated. All right? So if this interests you, go to historytimes.org, enroll, and we'll make sure you receive that lesson that you missed last Sunday. I'm telling you, you want to get that lesson before you go to week 2. So the earlier you enroll, the quicker we send you what you've missed. Hebrew, the news that we cannot even talk about on this particular platform, being that things are just so, to some degree censored. And 3, the lessons are like none on earth. Okay. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. Now, speaking of quote unquote censorship, right? Man, there's a few things I couldn't talk about at the end of our Wednesday's broadcast when it came to men who were calling up. And I'm not talking about men who don't care. I'm talking about men who fear God, who want what's right for their families, their children, right? who called in, you know, crying for help against what? Against what was going on in their home when it comes to wanting a wife to submit and be a helpmeet as God intended, and would readily hit the streets and go out there and all of that than to perform her righteous or virtuous role as a wife. Let me tell you, it was disheartening hearing brothers with good intentions talking at the end of that program, crying out who was getting utterly decimated out there. Okay? Because why? I'm going to tell you, men have been silenced. And I'm going to talk about that today. Men have been silenced. And this is why I'm going to talk about this for the things I can't discuss on this platform, on Patreon. Not to blame anyone, not to bash or anything like that, but to bring resolve and help for these particular types of men. Okay, you can call in, we can talk about it. The Powerless Men of Babylon. Now, why am I going here? I think men, young men, are behind the times, right? Men, in particular, are seeking the traditional family, not realizing the pool of people out there, women in particular with social media. They aren't traditional. Now, can they get there? Of course. But for whatever reason, it's too late to try to figure this out. This is what men are faced with, all right? Non-traditional women. Women who understand, especially at an early age, you know, they understand the attention factor of their youth. And through that attention and through social media, it has produced a different type of woman that only the Bible can quantify on how to navigate around such a woman. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the broadcast. And what I'm going to also do is I'm going to use those particular clips and give counsel, stating some of the things that I can't even talk about on this platform because y'all don't know this, brothers and sisters. As of January 1st of 2024, this particular channel, if it be the Most High's will be out of YouTube jail, okay? Where they'll begin to respect our content, right? And respect allowing us to promote what the Most High say in this Bible, all right? As long as we follow rules, as long as we follow some of the rules. Now, one of the rules is, listen, that we have to be careful on how we speak about protected classes. And one of the protected classes that we have to be careful of what we speak about are black women. All right. In particular, we were told you got to watch how you speak about gays. You got to watch how you speak about religious scenarios such as Jews. And you must watch what you say about black women. Right? So all in all, we're going to respect those particular protected classes. But then we have to ask, why are they protected classes? Why are there protected classes? How is there a demographic, or women too, black women and women? Why are there protected classes? Right? We need to think about that. And why aren't men included in these? The black man is suffering. Where's the protection for those brothers who called in the other day? I need y'all to think about this. So in order for us to stay out of YouTube jail, we must comply, and we'll do so. Right? We'll speak in generalizations, and that's okay. But I need y'all to know they They're cracking down. Because why? I'm going to tell you right now, folks, they understand, and I believe they understand, that people are waking up. Waking up to what? How a lot of these so-called protected classes, right, have been used as social disruptions to destabilize certain scenarios. Could be. Maybe. And now if we attack that and try to get things back together, you know what it does? It actually stifles Satan's plan against the rise of Judah. Right? But I digress. But we're going to examine that on Patreon today. Patreon.com/AGathering144. Now, before I go there, brothers, I need y'all to understand this and understand this good. And I'm going to show you in scripture. You have to know who to avoid. Same as women. You have to know who to avoid. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that. You have to understand who to avoid, who's under Satan's grooming program against righteousness, against traditional values, and how to navigate. And brothers, ever so often have been operating with what? A naive eye when it comes to relationships. You're looking at a woman's body, you're looking at this, and guess what? You are ignoring all the telltale signs. Especially a man who's trying to walk with the Most High and understand its value. Brothers, I need y'all to understand this, just brothers in particular. Here's the realization. In the Western world, women don't fear men. And I'm not talking about the strength part of things. I'm not talking about fear of being harmed from the abuse side and all these others. You have to understand this. This is the society that has been cultivated. Understand, women do not fear men. Because if they can operate and there's no consequence, why fear him? The only man that's feared in the Western world, in our society, by women are gay men. And the Bible talks about this. That the turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. That there's something new in the earth where children would overrun society and good men would be controlled by women. The only men women fear are gay men. Because that's a protected class even above them. And see, the naivety of men is not understanding the political landscape, how it's all working out. So you believe you're a strong man, you're not gay and all these others, that you're going to get some level of respect. Well, respect usually comes from a person in fear of losing something. And mind you, a lot of these women don't fear losing you. They fear there's no consequence. So I'm going to put that out. I'm going to tell you right now. So now we're going to drop the Bible on you today. And we're going to give some what? Strategic counsel according to the Almighty. Because when you go into the Bible will tell you, men, and I'm going to talk about it more on the other side, what types of women to avoid. Let's go through it real quick. Right? Job 39:13 reads this. Now check this out, folks, in lieu of what's going on in the world today when it comes to cosmetics, the outward appearance, or whatever the case might be. Right? Give me out of all birds, one of the more beautiful, comely birds in the earth. Out of all birds. What is the most flashy bird, brothers and sisters, on earth? Right? The peacock. Right? It's all about the outward, aesthetics. When it comes to mating or getting attention, the peacock sprouts itself out. Right? That's part of the mating call for birds, peacock. And the other is the ostrich. Now, I need you to check out the ostrich. The ostrich walks with a long neck, right? A matter of fact, let me pull these two up for you so you can see it. I'm going to pull up the peacock here for you. Brothers, listen and listen good. You're getting some serious understanding. And one day I was speaking to Sister Shirley, and we was just having a discussion on a few things. And she said, Elder, well, what we're going to do about these men who need to be healed? And I'm like, men need to be healed? Come on now. Okay, we're not in a position to rule through our emotions. But now I understood after those phone calls the brothers made what she was actually, what she was talking about. That there was men who were what? Who were suffering in silence when it comes to a combative, uncooperative relationship. Right? Let me get you a peacock real quick. Right? Let me show you something real quick. Right? Hold on, Patreonies. I'm coming right with you. All right? Now, I'm going to show you where I'm going because the Bible breaks it down. These are the women whom the Bible says avoid. Men. The Bible teaches good men to avoid the peacock and the ostrich. Right? The peacock is all about what? The fancy colors and all of these things to gain attention as a mating call. It's all about the aesthetics, right? And the ostrich has a long neck, and it's all about what? The body shape. That's right. Little legs, long neck with body behind. Now, I'm going to drop some wisdom on you, brothers, of why the Most High says, avoid these types of women who lead like a peacock, and an ostrich. Right? Let's go to the scriptures real quick. Right? Let me read it. Gavest thou the goodly wings unto the peacocks, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich? Now check out this, folks. Check out the pathology of some of these animals. See if it's comparable to something we were discussing. Which leave her eggs in the earth, warmeth them in the dust. Speaking of their children, their offspring. And forget that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them. They leave their children exposed. It's all about the attention they get. It's all about them mating and getting the attention while leaving their offspring to be utterly decimated or destroyed. Selfishness. Right? This is why we're looking in the media and it's stating what? They talk about what? A woman's choice, her body, her choice to choose when it comes to child deletion, right? Because really it's about what's important for the woman. Like an ostrich or a peacock. It's all about them getting their feathers together, looking all right, the attention they get for mating, to the point where their children are left to die. Brothers, listen to this. And then if the children do make it, the eggs, conveniently or luckily hatch, what is she to do with these offspring? A woman in the mindset of an ostrich or a peacock. She is hardened against her young ones, and as though they were not hers. I hear about young ladies calling in, talking about how women allow men in their home who violated them at a time in which they trusted their own mother. You see what's going on. Here it is. Kirk Franklin didn't get any resolve until he was up with almost 60 years old. He had to suffer through the insecurities because of the spirit of a peacock or an ostrich. She is hardened against her young ones as though they were not hers. Brothers, you have to see the sign. Her labor, let me tell you, her labor is in vain without fear. She don't care what you think. She don't care what God thinks. And brothers, see, when we were growing up, brothers, there was a church. The church wasn't perfect, but there was a clear distinction between what a church girl was and what a club girl is or was. And before, I'm going to tell you right now, men knew growing up, college, having fun, that's where the club girls came in at. But you weren't looking to these girls to raise your children. You weren't looking to these girls for marriage. And that's the mistake, young men, the naivety that they're making today. You're meeting these girls, you're looking at their pictures on Instagram, not realizing they're peacocks, they're ostriches. That real women don't roll like that. They care more about themselves and that attention than their own children. So when you hear about a woman being out all night, 3:30 in the morning, you have to understand what you got. Now, unfortunate, you didn't get some of the intel that we're bringing forth or the biblical wisdom, right? The Bible states because God have deprived her of wisdom, neither have imparted to her understanding. See, when a woman only cares about herself and is selfish, guess what? She don't care about what you have to say. She don't care about the wisdom that will even benefit her long term. She's only living in the now. So it's up for brothers to understand this. I'm talking about good men. How to protect yourself, and if a woman don't want to change, how to get out of it. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the broadcast today. What are my talking points today? Here's my talking points. Right here. Men underestimate the power of women. That's one part of being naive that have to get fixed immediately. That's right. One of the major faults of men who want to do right now, and I'm not talking about no good men and all that. Well, let's just talk about men like those who called in to the broadcast, who are good men, who are seeking to serve the Most High and want a nuclear family. Number one, men underestimate the power of women. That's number one. And women know it. Number two, men are ashamed. We have too much pride to seek help once we're trapped with a worldly woman. We're too ashamed. Right? And they know that too. Non-like women, brothers, when women are ready to make moves and all that, they can have a plan a year in advance. That's a year out, and calculate each move without you actually understanding what's going on. And you're already moved out of the picture. Men aren't that calculating. I'm going into scriptures on all these on the other side. You have to understand what you're dealing with. Now, what's good is to have a woman who understands that she has all this power, but would never use it or weaponize it against you. But she has the power nonetheless. Usually when women choose to not exercise that power, that's a different type of woman that operates with the wisdom of God. But all women have the same power. Let's go. Because I'm going straight to Patreon here. Right? Men are ashamed or too proud to seek help once trapped with a worldly woman. I'm going to show brothers with scriptures how to deal with that. 3, here's a weakness for men. A weakness for men is not knowing how to keep discretion while moving to save oneself. You get angry and you start talking about everything you're going to do, which gives her the upper ground to calculate and utterly decimate you for actually moving, and not, that's right, without moving how the Bible says move when you're operating with Jezebel. You're too emotional. You're too triggering. You start threatening and saying certain things, and a man of wisdom don't move like that. I need y'all to look at Jeezy, brothers, since you want to look at a rapper who turned himself into some level of success with entrepreneurship after rapping. Check out how he moved. Let me tell you, Jenny Ma was talking about she's going to submit, but really she had a big mouth and she really wasn't submissive at all. She was a chameleon, promised to be a certain type of way. And look how, guess what? Let me tell you, the brother Jeezy said, you know what? She looked up and there was divorce papers waiting for her after her broadcast. He didn't tell her that he was going to do that. And now she's publicly saying, I want to reconcile. No. Brothers, I need y'all to understand how to operate with power. And you don't have to have a lot of money to do this. You don't have to have a lot of money. If you operate like this, you'll get to the point where you'll have enough. You have time to build yourself. You have time to build yourself. It's not a rush. Stop choosing chasing a woman over building yourself. All right? I'm going to also use in an example Terrell Owens. He was asking a question like, why are you running around and you mainly date white women, right? And Charles said, listen, before I grew into myself, even my first year in college, high school, I was shamed. And the women called me nerdy. The women that I liked laughed at me. And the other women treated me like I know I deserve to be treated. I wasn't this Terrell Owens I am right now, but I knew in my mind, this is who I always was. And the other women picked it up. I knew that one day I would be successful. And my own women that I loved, that I cared for, that I came to talk to, shamed me at my lowest point. But he always knew he would succeed. And this is where women make mistake. They make a mistake and underestimate or ignore or shame and ridicule the real men. They ridicule the real men. And then when a man grows up into his own, 35, 40, or even 28, 29, and now the man don't even begin to fill in to his complete manhood until about 30, 35. And then all the women who shamed that young man, who made him feel less than, is looking at this man saying, why is these guys choosing white women? When he wanted you. He wanted you. But you couldn't see what other women are seeing. You got to know how to grab that man at that point and go on that ride to see how the Most High make a man from nothing to something to appreciate a prince. Now, I'm not in Terrell Owens' relationships. I'm not confirming or affirming whether or not he should date whoever he would like to date. I'm just using that as an example, brothers and sisters, as a learning tool. And that leads us to where we're going today. It leads us where we're going today. Brothers, you have to know when women are operating in the spirit of peacock, where they're just dealing with their aesthetics and want to be in the streets and all that, you have to know what man the devil has prepared for them. Okay? These are the men for those women. Right here. These are the men right here for those type of women. Okay? Men who don't want to do right, who don't want to use wisdom, who's lazy and don't want to be right according to God. Guess what? There's matches for everyone. Here is their match, brothers. And if you know that this is not, that you've overcome this type of spirit, you have to understand your worth and say, you know what? This is the pool that's left for them. Even if you have to keep yourself until there's a worthy woman. You won't get trapped. You won't make a mistake. And now she has collateral against you to destroy you. It's what you do at your young age. If you use wisdom, you will avoid pitfalls. Okay? There are men already for those women. Make sure that they're available for these guys. If they don't want to get on your page, follow what the Most High say, there's guys already out there that they'll probably respect. Like them. Brothers are too afraid to make decisions for their life when it comes to relationships. You just hope things are just going to work out. You have to be intentional. You have to set a standard for what your house going to be. And you know what? She has to follow suit. It's not no thing, well, let's go to counsel so another woman can tell me how to run my house and be emotionally available. Nah, brothers, let me tell you. If someone tell you that they're out in the club and doing all these things because you're not emotionally available, they're lying. They're in the club because they want to be in the club. But they're just blaming you. You're not home too that much. I'm bored. Well, I'm working. She's lying again. If you're working, she should love the fact that you aren't home. You're providing and making a future. But she'll use that as an excuse to what? So that you cannot correct her for her behavior. Because you can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, he's not home and that's why I'm doing this. And then if he's home and not working, I'm doing this because you're not providing. Which one is it? Brothers, stop trying to figure this out. Understand if you're with a peacock or an ostrich, and do what? Operate according to the word. Because it's going to always be deflection. It's going to always come back to you. And by that, it gives her excuse to do what she's doing. What happened when we began to go off against the Most High with Israel being God's woman? The Most High told us once. He told us twice. He sent the prophets. And guess what? He was like, you know what? I'm kicking you off the land. Go find your way in the world. I'm putting you under the same people you was running after like harlots. So eventually a man have to take a stand as a judge, starting in his own home. And this is not negotiable. This is not negotiable. I don't need a psych marriage counselor or someone else telling me what my rules should be up in my house. No. Kick rocks. Listen, this is my house, and she's going to have to follow suit. I'm going to treat her like God say treat her, but she's going to follow my program. I'm not here to be emotionally available and all this other stuff, this psychology they use to take power from men. Men, man up. Now, where am I going today? Because trouble is coming, trouble is here. Under the label of asylum seekers. See this girl right here? I'm going to show you where this is going, folks. Fair use. That's right, brothers. I'm saying, brothers. I'm not talking about men who don't have anything going on. I'm talking about men with substance. Okay? You set your rules down, and if she don't want to follow those rules, you have a choice. But men are afraid, and this is what these brothers didn't want to tell me. Men are afraid of these women because why? Because how they calculate what will happen once she get the courts involved. Men don't want to say this, but that's what they fear, because these women understand they have the whole system in the courts against the man, and that if he choose to make a stand against her, she could decimate him financially. Brothers, you need to be on Patreon when I talk about this, okay? On how to navigate. On how to navigate. You need to be on Patreon when I break it down. Stop talking so much. You have to move. Okay? You don't have the support women have when they're calculating. That's right. Life in the future without you. She has her aunt, she has her mama, she has her cousins, she has her girlfriends. She have all these different people counseling against you on how to move against you. peacocks and ostriches. So you got to know if you have value, how to move, and I'm going to show you how to. Where are we going here? Because a fix is here. Fair use.
A NYC female student sentenced to 1 year in Dubai. What did she do? Elizabeth De Los Santos, 21-year-old NYC student facing a 1-year sentence in a Dubai prison. It's following 3 months of detainment for touching the arm of an airport security guard. After being
a year in jail in Dubai for touching a security guy at the airport. See? You see the difference between the Western world and America? I mean, the Western world and areas of the world that's still traditional? See, this is what happens when you take this uncontrolled, weaponized spirit they've made in this earth and move it into another area that isn't tolerating it. Right? She just touched the arm of someone at an airport in Dubai and got 1 year in prison. See? Because there's consequences for women acting out in other countries. Even in the Latino countries, there's consequences. But these women have been raised to believe there's no consequences for their actions. So we're going to talk about that. Why? Because an answer is here. The answer is here already.
Point here in the city as well as the entire country. So let me tell you a little bit more about the announcement that was made truly mere moments ago. Governor Hochul announced this morning alongside some restaurant industry leaders that the state Labor Department has identified nearly 400 employers across the state with more than 18,000 jobs available for work-eligible asylum seekers. And that means pretty immediately those jobs will be available for them. The DOL is also urging business.
Job permits are being given to asylum seekers, thousands of them. Thousands of jobs. And believe it or not, these are the same people who will have voter registration before the next election. How does this tie in, folks? Because this is the answer for the problem they created in destroying family. Here's the answer. It's coming. They're going to take all the jobs, and now the women they use that are weaponized against men aren't going to have jobs. And then on top of that, what happens? Because these other women are coming in with their natural aesthetics and all that, with the hair and all of that, without any, folks, they only are seeking to get minimum wage or less. They're not even seeking money. Now, a lot of men, they're going to flood the zone in these cities, and a lot of men are going to be dating, marrying traditional women outside of the Western world women. Listen to what I'm telling you. It's about to happen. They've already destroyed the man, and now they're coming after the woman. They're coming after the woman, so there'll be no one to provide for you, sisters. This is their fix. This is their plan. So, sisters, there is no such thing as a perfect relationship, but if you have a good man that feared God, get on his program. Because the men that are coming over, they're not readily just choosing any type of woman. Based on how our women have been portrayed in the Western world, in their countries, they're only coming over here to only deal with women. That's right, folks, for pleasure. They'll marry their women. But if you operate like a peacock or an ostrich, guess what? They're coming here to use you for that. So it's not like the same dynamic as men. These people are coming over here with traditional values, family oriented. And their women will choose a man with upward mobility that they know is family oriented because that's what they're used to. And that's taken more good men from the pool that should be yours. Now, women that are already right, fearing God, and understand that this is not talking about them, you have nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear at all. The Most High got you. But the women who don't want to get on the program don't even realize that the answer has already come into view. And I'm going to be talking about this on the program today. This is where we are, folks. The replacements are here. That's right. The replacements are here, folks. So the whole deal is, brothers, hold on. I'm going to show you in the next broadcast, Patreon, on how to navigate according to God using certain talking points. Folks, let me tell you, brothers, stand your ground, because when this happens, let me tell you, people are losing homes, getting thrown out of apartments, all of that. I'm going to tell you, hold your ground and don't budge. And make sure you vet properly. Don't go for the peacock. Don't go for the ostrich. Vet properly. Ask the right questions. Because soon, in the inner cities and others, it's going to become panic mode. It have already started in the major cities of New York, Chicago, California, and others. It's going to be panic mode. And they're going to wish they held on to that good man. What you need to focus on, men, is building yourself. And I'm going to show you, and linking with the Most High and building yourself. And in that building, with that building, a plan that most probably can't see right now. Right? So a woman who's down with you with that plan, before it's assumed, you'll know that woman is the woman for you. Because she's going to get on your program whether you're rich or not. Whether you make 6 figures or not. She's going to get on your program. If she's not on your program for what you are before you have anything, keep in mind, brothers and sisters, the only thing she's going to do is look at you as a mark to eventually take half of what you have. That's it, because she haven't built anything with you. She came to take. That's the ostrich. That's right. And that's the peacock. Here's my talking points for Patreon. This is the naivety of men. Men want to become what? What they would call hopelessly romantic, believing that these women out here today are the traditional women. And by thinking that, you underestimate the power of women. A lot of women out there think men are dumb, and they're not ashamed. Guess what? They're not even hiding it anymore. They just outright think you're dumb. And you know what? A lot of men are proving them right. And it's upon you to prove them wrong. We can't underestimate the power of woman. If anything, you can see if the government get their hooks in women and utilize them for feminism, how they can bring in any agenda they would like. So that's power right there. Okay? That's power. Number two, men are ashamed and are too proudful to seek help once they're trapped with a worldly woman. Once the newness is gone and all of the, the hearts and the eyes and all these other things and the butterflies are gone, right? Now you're regretting your choice because you didn't vet properly in the beginning. 3, a weakness for men is not knowing how to keep quiet while moving to save yourself from a Jezebel. Okay? That and more is about to get discussed on Patreon, and I'm going to use some of those videos we did the other day, right? Clips from my last broadcast Wednesday night of the brothers who called in, just pieces of it. And we're going to use that, and I'm going to give insight to those brothers and others on how to move according to God in a changing world. The replacements are here. Brothers, let me make it clear. The Bible tell you, if you are single, don't seek to be bound. And I'm going to show you this. A matter of fact, let me read this for my brothers and sisters before I leave and go over to Patreon. Right? Let me read this real quick and leave y'all with this. Right? Let me leave you with this. The Bible asks questions, right? Here's a good question. Art thou bound unto a wife? Which means, are you in a relationship? Seek not to be loosed. Seek not to be single if you're married. See, but this is talking about a wife, a woman who's on your program. There's other rules if she isn't. Right? Are you single? Art thou loose from a wife? Which means, are you single, brother? Seek not a wife. This is what Disney programmed in us to destroy and or trap us. We are to seek the kingdom first, which is our plan for nation. And everything else will be added unto us. And that includes a wife if it's God's will. If you are single, you are not supposed to be looking for a wife. You're supposed to be building yourself and connecting to the Most High for your purpose. And guess what? The wife you choose will be the wife you choose. She's not choosing you. You choosing her. And that's what's wrong with brothers. They're seeking this Disney fairy tale that women used to seek after. It doesn't exist, fellas. It's a trap. If you are loose, you are not supposed to seek a woman. You get yourself together, connect with the Most High, and now what? You're producing to a degree where a helpmeet is now necessary. You do like you operate like that, and you'll have no problem getting a good woman. Because in actuality, brothers and sisters, and here's the Western world, women rarely respect men who chase them. See, these are the conversations back in the day our uncles, our grandfathers, and all that would have with us. And it's a void that's missing in the earth. Okay? Women rarely respect men who chase them. Because if you are about your business, she's going to be trying to get with you, understanding where you're going. Understanding that what? You're valuable. And see, men, we don't look at the numbers like women. Women look at the numbers. They know it's more women seeking men, even though they don't say it publicly. They know there's more women to men. They understand the ratio. So anytime a man is chasing a woman, you know what? That's weird to them. Because the ratio, women understand that the ratio of good women to single men is 7, 8, even 10 to 1 under certain circumstances. Get yourself together with the Most High, and He'll bless you with a good woman that you'll choose because she's worthy. Stop chasing peacocks and ostriches. Okay? Shalom. All praises be to the Most High. You all have a great Sabbath. We're transitioning over into Patreon with the phones open. We're going to review some of these videos together on Patreon and give wisdom according to the Bible on how to move. And again, brothers, the replacements are here. All right? Men in particular. If a woman don't want to get on your page, if she don't want to be traditional, there's a bunch of traditional women coming. Okay? Or even if you have to go into certain parts of Africa to find a good woman that has traditional values in which you would have to pay the father a dowry, do it. Do not settle for less than you deserve. As a son of God, you are a prince. And this is what Oprah didn't tell you. Shalom. Hebrew and Bible Academy. I'm going to be going into it. That's right. How to bring men and women. I'm talking about good men and good women who want to do right. How to bring us together. We're going to be talking about that in the academy. historytimes.org. Enroll. And let's go over to Patreon now. Shalom. Patreon.com/agathering144.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering Israel.